Well, hello there. Pull up your laptops, your cups of coffee, because today we're going to be talking about memes. Now, I know what you're thinking. Ugh, memes again. Another video on stupid memes. I mean, really, what's he going to do different from all these other thousands of videos out there on YouTube about memes? Well, besides having the dankest collection of memes out there, if I do say so myself. No, not really. I really don't. We're going to take a look at history. The history of memes, how they became to be, how they affect us today, and how we can expect them to impact us in the future. First, though, let me introduce you to myself. My name's Slater Kosick. I'm a musician, singer, songwriter, and off chance sometimes a content creator. Yeah, I don't usually do this kind of stuff, but I figured, hey, not enough people talk about memes on the internet. I figured I could do it myself. Must admit, I'm a little nervous. Okay, maybe a lot nervous, but we'll get through this together. I promise. It won't be that painful, hopefully. With that out of the way, let's get started. I know you're just so excited to hear my take on memes. Well, we probably need to first figure out what the heck is a meme. Well, you see, back in ancient Greek times, this guy right here, Aristotle, I'm sure you've heard of him, or at least I hope you have. If not, you haven't been paying attention in history class. Well, Mr. Aristotle was doing his thing, walking around temples and whatnot, talking to Plato, and he asked this one question. Socrates is mortal because he is human, correct? Now, at first, this argument seems pretty basic, pretty obvious. If we really take a second to really look at it, what it means, we can find out more about what Aristotle was trying to get at. This phrase is what's called a syllogism with an unstated premise. That unstated premise being that humans are in fact mortal. Basically, it's kind of like an assumption. You can think of it like that. Socrates is mortal because he is human and humans are mortal. While you could definitely quote me on this, Aristotle definitely said this to Plato in ancient Greek times, let's take a more modern look at this and see a more modern example. A good modern example of this would be what I call the courtroom example. The story takes place in a courtroom where there's a man on trial for a specific crime, which is not named in the story. But basically it comes time for the defendant to come up and he asks for someone to testify on the man. The lady comes up to testify about the man who's on trial, and she gives this argument. I've known this man. No, I'm not going to do that. I've known this man since he was a child. He has to be innocent. The major premise here being that childhood comes with innocence. Despite the minor spelling error, here is another example of this. All birds are animals. Turkey vultures are birds. All turkey vultures are animals, therefore. And you can see this is a major premise and minor premise laid out for you there. And this is what's known as an enthymeme. So right after that, the internet took over and decided to take the word meme and put a bunch of text on images, and that's what we have today, right? Not so fast. Fast forward to the 1970s, where there were muscle cars, new awesome bands on the rise, and that. Oh, but this happened too. This what was it? Star, War of the Trek Wars. Yeah, I think that's it. While I'm sure there were plenty of other really cool things that happened in the 70s, let's get back on track here. In 1976, this handsome fellow right here, Richard Dawkins, wrote a book called The Selfish Gene. In his book, Mr. Dawkins coins the term meme as an idea, behavior, or style that spreads from person to person within a culture, often with the aim of conveying a particular phenomenon, theme, or meaning represented by the meme. A meme acts as a unit for carrying cultural ideas, symbols, or practices that can be transmitted from one mind to another through writing, speech, gestures, rituals, or other imitable phenomenon with a mimicked theme. So basically, the original meme is a unit of culture distributed between a culture. Yeah, not quite like what we're used to nowadays, huh? And Richard Dawkins has gone on record as not being super happy about how the internet's taken his term meme and turned it into something completely different. If you're curious what the first ever meme was, well, fortunately there's not a lot of documented memes from back before the internet started, but this is considered to be one of the very first. Basically, this highly compressed image of a dancing baby would be sent to people through chain emails, and it would pretty much just sit there at the bottom of your email and dance away. The internet would then go to take this formula and make their own versions. Then, in 2010, on the website Tumblr, a user by the name Brad Kim uploaded what he called a rage comic. A rage comic was basically, well, just that. A comic about a stick figure doing something sort of everyday action and freaking out about it, really. These personally never really made any sense to me, but I mean, that's just me, and here's me, just senile dude sitting at his ancient laptop, drinking his lukewarm coffee. But from those rage comics originated the ever so famous Forever Alone face, the Why You Know guy, and the critically acclaimed troll face. The troll face would go on to become a huge part of pop culture, politics, and all across social media to basically represent somebody that the internet isn't taking all that seriously. This eventually led to other artists and cartoon artists to start drawing cartoon pictures of funny faces that actors and politicians made, and thus led to some of the most famous memes. Nobody was really safe. Even criminals and politicians, basically the same thing, were used as memes. People would take their faces and draw funny pictures and use it in some of the more popular viral memes of today. Most of these funny faces and comics can be found online with a simple Google search, but here is a list of some of the more popular ones. It wouldn't take the internet long to start adding text to funny-looking images, along with an implied meaning to get across a funny joke. This is one of the more popular memes, called Bad Luck Brian. Basically, it's implied that he has really bad luck, and no matter how hard he tries and what he does, he can never seem to catch a break. And as memes have progressed into today's world, it's become more of a cultural phenomenon and less about the image and the funny text. Basically, anybody who does anything strange or unusual in a public sphere becomes a meme. And just as fast as they come and rise in popularity, they go. But that'll have to wait for the next video. Hope I'll see you in the next part, and thanks for watching, and I hope you learned a thing or two about memes. Next video, we'll be talking about more memes, about 2011, the peak of memes, and how memes impact our culture. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.